Welcome to episode 5 of the Media Buying Podcast. Rob, I can't believe it. We made it to episode 5.
I didn't think we would make it to episode 2, to be honest, but I'll take 5. 5 is good.
5 is really quite good, I think. And obviously, we're recording this in the height of the summer. I don't know what it's like where you are, but it's been funny here. We've had some nice hot weather, bit of rain. It's a bit all over the place. But yesterday was the death of Ozzy Osbourne. That was very sad. And today I've just heard that Hulk Hogan's died. What is going on?
I just read that. Dude, I don't know. It's like someone was like, hey, let's talk about all these people that you know and you really respect. And oh no, they're dead. Yeah, no, I don't know, man. Like after COVID and everything, I think I'm just so desensitized anyway that it's not the same. But yeah, you have these weeks that you're just like, what is happening right now? Is it just the fact that I'm paying more attention to it? Is it the fact that it's actually happening more? Either way, it doesn't feel good.
Yeah. You and I are classic examples of if you don't look after your health, right, then before you know it, you're like a lot heavier than you ought to be. And that puts strain on your hips, your joints and your internal organs. So again, I have to say, you're looking terrific, my friend. It's really good to see the effort that you've made. And for those of you watching, just before we came on air, Rob was pushing his treadmill out the way. How many steps you do a day, Rob, on your treadmill?
I try for 10K, but I also have it like under my desk, and my desk is a convertible. So I just walk while you check email, walk while you do other stuff.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, it's almost like walking to the buffet at a hotel to get some food, right? So
exactly. You got to burn off some calories before you replace it. I mean,
I thought today we would change things up a little bit. Like this particular period is usually the time when all of the companies that I buy media from, so the Alphabet / Google, Meta / Facebook, they all come to the end of their quarters and have to report their results. I'd be really interested to know, is that something that you're aware of in your sphere?
So I definitely do see a difference in, let's call it bids and pricing and all that kind of stuff. Like it's like Q4, right? Q4 is always good because it's Christmas and holidays and end of the year and tax breaks and blah, blah, blah. But it's still just a normal industry at some point. The difference with, at least that I know of with a lot of this, is that this is the first time where I'm actually looking at their growth in more than just ad spend. Because a lot of the stuff I've been working on, especially on the LLM side and like AI side, is ironically, and I'm actually going to bring this up because it's a statistic I didn't even know. I have a tweet from, I want to say this is one of the people at Google. I follow like researchers and stuff like that. He said, Google is processing 980 trillion monthly tokens across our products and APIs, up from 480 trillion in May. So that's a little scary. But yeah, that's an interesting stat for me for all the stuff that I've been looking at. But ancillarily, that's also a very interesting stat for, it should be everyone, because I guarantee you not all of those tokens are external people. I guarantee you some of those are internal, and they're using them for evaluating landers or using them for evaluating ads.
Yeah. So for me, I think that the thing that was really interesting, I mean, for anyone that's a media buyer sitting there going, what sort of thing should I do to be able to research? I've always said, rather than just boldly going in there and going, here's my credit card, ding it as much as you like. I always think sometimes you need to do a little bit of due diligence and a bit of research. And sometimes what I find is if I look at the 10Qs, which is the quarterly returns that they do. So they're publicly traded companies. They all have to basically tell the truth when they do these 10Qs. Otherwise, they risk going to jail. So there's always a safe harbor statement where they tell you all the things that could go wrong and it's forward looking. But I think a lot of it is, it shows you what they've done in the previous quarter compared to the same quarter in the previous year. And it will show you whether it's up or down. And I think because they're all publicly traded companies, one, they're all beholden to the shareholders. As much as they go, we're all stakeholders in this, we're not stakeholders in this. We are absolutely not. The only people they care about are the shareholders, because ultimately the shareholders are the people that dictate whether to the company and keep it going or get rid of the board or whatever.
They're also required to. Because like that's the whole concept of fiduciary responsibility, is that if you actually do hold ownership or equity or whatever you want to refer to it as, right, is you have a responsibility to do what is in the best interest, not of you and the company, but for the company.
Yeah.
And that does have repercussions. So yeah, but the amount of people that don't understand that is crazy nowadays.
Every single quarter, the 10Qs come out. They're usually available on Edgar. I download them religiously. I always make sure every time they come out, I watch the videos to see what was said. If you like, if you read the PDF, it just gives you the rough words, and it gives you the transcript, but you got to read it. I want to see the sentiment in the way in which it's delivered. So I tend to watch these 10 Qs of the public trade companies that work in our space. And I'm curious to see, certainly in the last quarter, Alphabet, which is the holding company for Google, they announced that they were significantly up on the previous quarter, the same quarter last year. But interestingly enough, their growth came in, they were double digits in search, double digits in YouTube, and also significant double digits in cloud. So I think cloud is obviously Gemini, pay for Google Business, for all my email and all that. And they keep jacking up the price, and they're giving you all this extra stuff in Gemini. I don't want Gemini. I don't use it. I mean, I know that a lot of people will. Great. But they keep saying, we've given you all this extra stuff. It's like, I didn't want it. But
dude, there was one.
And use what I want to use rather than you force me to use what you want me to use.
Right. And so we were going to one of our internal calls that we had where we were going over client stuff. And this is at my main gig. And we're going over client stuff. We're like, hey, let's jump on this Google Meet. And we're on a previous Google Meet already. So we literally talk about going to the new one. As soon as we go to the new one, as one of us is leaving, it's like, Gemini is great for Google Meet summaries. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then we go over to the next one. It's like, do you want to enable a note taker for this? And I was like, no. And then I went to Google Docs to do my notes for the call. And it was like, do you want Gemini to help you? I'm like, dude, we don't need to go through all this. I don't want to use your stuff for this. And don't get me wrong, their level of integration will make their tools a little bit better at certain things. But I only use frontier models for probably half of my work. The majority of mine is actually local models. So I don't send my stuff out of my house, basically. But their growth, what is interesting to me is how they would classify that. So if their growth in cloud, are they counting, for example, the growth from the Gemini API as a cloud growth or a product growth? See, that's the kind of stuff that I would want to see in that document.
Yes, I mean,
that would really change it.
Cloud encompasses the API calls that the people make. It also includes data warehousing that people might use for, BigQuery and that sort of thing. I'm doing a lot of warehousing for clients now from GA4 because you only get 2 to 14 months of data in GA4. And quite often it's very, very heavily redacted, if you like. I don't know what the correct terminology is, but they restrict the data. What I want to do is I want to have that data stored for longer and store all of it, right? So I use BigQuery, and people go, oh, I'm really frightened about sort of running up a big bill. And you can, if you're
completely,
you can run up a huge bill, but generally speaking, you can use some GPT LLM to help you with your SQL. If you need to write a query, you can run something into ChatGPT and say, what's the correct syntax for this SQL table? And it'll give you the information. You can then use Looker Studio to create your reports, to give you the data. And then obviously from there, you can do that. So I've been storing warehousing data for many years for lots of clients. And some of them I'm currently working with, some I may have historically worked with. Because again, if I have a client that approaches me and says, hey, I want to work with you, and they're in a particular vertical I've worked in before, I've got data, I can call upon that and say, I got some data. But to go back to the sort of 10Q. So one of the reasons I look at it is because not only do they talk about what they've done in the past, they also tell you about the things that they're looking for the future. So I think in some respects, it's almost like I try and read the tea leaves, read between the lines of where are they going and what can I do to jump on their coattails to get dragged along for the ride. Because I think a lot of it, when you look at, people kept talking about how many years in a row was mobile first going to be coming. Mobile first. It's all about mobile, all about mobile. And now, I don't know at what point in time that transition took effect, but mobile now is some completely ubiquitous in terms of the most e-commerce businesses, 80% of their traffic might be mobile now. Pay per call is like 100% call. So
even mail is like 60 plus.
Yeah. And because of that, I think a lot of it is people go, oh, I'm going to create a beautiful looking website. I'm on a 49-inch big monitor here, and things might look great on that, but what does it look like on a form factor that's tiny, right? Not everyone has the most up-to-date iPhone and the most up-to-date Samsung. Some of them are on really clunky old iPhone 7s, 8s or whatever. And if the site doesn't function that well, right, then the performance isn't going to be as good, right? So I think a lot of people are spending money on media, thinking that they just need to change the ads and change this and change that. It's like, well, sucks, right? So that's why
Oh,
your performance isn't good.
yeah. No, the thing about a lot of media buyers that I know is that media buyers are some of the most innovative people in general that like I love to talk to, because the way that their mind works is very, and like even when I was like media buying, right? Like again, paid is not my primary, but the way that media buyers address a situation or finding how to target someone based on that or the angle or whatever. A lot of media buyers end up being, and this is less corporate-y ones, like affiliate style, but they're like a full stack marketer. Like they do everything. They understand the concept of what they're doing, how they're doing it. They're running traffic here and doing that. But the the biggest part is that also when you get very good, you will be tunnel visioned and you don't realize you're tunnel visioned because you're always chasing, how do I get better conversions? Well, first of all, what is a conversion? Is it the people that actually just make me money now? Is it long term? Is it LTV? Is it quick money? And that depends on where you are in the equation, right? Are you advertising your own product, someone else's? But when you're doing all of that, the main issue is that while you're focusing on making more money, you're not doing the analytical lookup on stuff that you deem, let's call it, not worth the time to look at, right? So like if you're converting at 10% and you want to convert at 15%, you're not going to be like, you know how I can do this better is I can go figure out which browsers don't load my site well and then fix it. But like once you actually have some stability, it's very easy to load up analytics and go, oh, that's weird. We've never had a conversion from Safari. Or like our conversion rate on Safari is 1%. Or like our conversion rate from this state is X. Like there's a lot of factors, but they'll just focus on the tech side,
Yeah,
the lander.
I was looking at a new prospective client approached me and said, hey, we need some help with Google ads. So I said, okay, I want to maybe just do a quick overview and audit of your account. So I got in there and clearly demand gen is like the new hot potato that Google's come out with as a way of, if you like, capitalizing on the advantage that Facebook have been having with the social type ad copy. And so demand gen gives you the ability to basically pull your best stuff on Facebook and put it into Google and run it on there. And they spent thousands and thousands of dollars, right, on this demand gen campaign, and they haven't generated one single conversion. And I'm thinking, what on earth? They run it in-house, so you forgive them for not knowing what was what. And probably, I would hazard a guess, they may well have just not configured the conversions properly. They probably have made conversions, right? Again, with the best one in the world, Google are going to continue to spend your money indefinitely until you recognize the errors of your own ways. They're not going to go, by the way, you spent thousands of dollars and you haven't generated anything. Can you just check to make sure that everything's working the way it should? And again, I think that they have a responsibility to do that. But it's, again, I mean, they put seatbelts in cars and people know that they should be using it, but a lot of people drive them without it. And if they get involved in an accident, it's like on them. It's not the car manufacturer's fault that they end up in an accident. It's their fault. The thing that bothers me more than anything about where we are now in our industry is it's almost like the Meta, Google, they're the sort of foxes that are guarding the hen. And it's almost like they're responsible for their own AI. And they basically say, our AI is great, fantastic. But clearly, the results are not always universally as good as they claim that they are, right? They always cite these case studies that they did. And they said, we did a case study and this gave a 12% uplift for people that adopted this feature. And when you read the really, really small print, says it was a sample of like 12 advertisers in 2022 or something stupid like that. 3 years ago, 12 people got in a beta, right? And they got a 12% uplift of people that didn't use that feature because they didn't have that feature, right? Whereas now the feature's universally available. Clearly, I'd love to go and say, well, let's revisit those 12 advertisers that got that performance uplift and how they're doing now compared to, where they were before when they just had an open field for themselves.
Yep. And ironically, like what you probably half the conversations I have about Boardwalk when I talk to people, like the whole premise of that is those are very real conversations. And those are conversations that we have consistently with people where while simultaneously knowing that they don't know, they also will not listen when you have the answer to give them. Yeah. And it's very interesting to see that crossed with the velocity of people's growth right now compared to like 10 years ago. Like 10 years ago, scaling a campaign was like, oh, we did like 500 a day. And it's like, the next one's like, oh, it's 1,000. like now it's like, oh, we did 500 yesterday. Today was 20 grand. And I'm like, Jesus, like that is scale right there.
Yeah.
But are you profitable? Like, are you going to be able to afford the ad spend tomorrow? Like, is that ad spend? Is that rev or is that profit? Oh, we can't talk about profit. Sorry. So it's like, it's that everyone has a different thing. But to go back to your Facebook example, and I have to say this because this is a perfect example of this. Facebook loves to live in the middle so that they have deniability on the point where they can actually say, well, we didn't want to over assume because that would have led to a worse thing. So what they do is they will say, hey, listen, you have no conversions, but of course we'll keep spending your money. And then they'll go, what if it's just because the pixel's not there, but we're actually getting him sales? Because if we were to do that now, he's going to complain because we're going to pause because we're killing something profitable. But then if you do the other one and it actually starts running on the pixel, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait, it's not profitable. Oh, no. And then you end up targeting something different, pausing, whatever it is, taking budget down. But they want the ability to say, we could have paused it, but that would have negatively impacted you at some point, and we can't guarantee it wouldn't. So we're not willing to take that chance. And so from that point, they'll just let it go.
And there could always be that sort of scenario where, like, again, like if you look at sort of, you set up a campaign in Facebook, right, by default, they would go for the 7-day click, 1-day view kind of attribution window to make things look good for them. A lot of people look at 28-day click. With all the clients I work with, we just go with 1-day click. That's it. We just do 1-day click, because if it's a product that people are going to buy, they're going to buy it or they're not going to buy it, right? They're not going to have to be seen 25 ads to make a decision. They're going to make a decision pretty much straight away because the product's not a majorly high ticket item. It's usually an emotional purchase in a lot of cases. So some 1-day click should be fine. You win some, you'll lose some, and the numbers aren't always going to marry up. At least you kind of, you're taking some degree of control rather than allowing Facebook to go, well, 7 days ago, we saw these people. I know that they went to Google and they went to Microsoft. They did this, they did that, right? But we're still claiming credit for it. Whereas I think, the thing with the view throughs, again, it's difficult. If people are watching a video on a mobile and never click anything, but subsequently leave and then go to Google and type in the brand name and purchase the product, right? Then, yeah, in some respects, Facebook probably should get some credit for the fact that they watched the video on Facebook and then bought from Google. But still, it's still not 2 sales. Not everyone's going to get full value conversions for it, which is, again, I think the thing that always amazes me is that people don't really look at sort of value-based conversion optimization. They just look at it. It's like, I've always maintained the kind of things to look for is, this is how much money I spent. This is how much money hit the bank from the sales that we generated in Shopify, whatever it might be. Net of any returns, net of any kind of bank charges. So I think I'm always amazed at how many people just don't look at those sorts of things. They're selling they might be selling a $6 product and they're quite happy to go with a CPA of $40 to buy a $6 product. It's like, wow. I mean, again, like you've given Facebook the autonomy to be able to get $40 sale, go up to $40. And we all know that Facebook will probably go up to $80 because they'll just go crazy. Like if you give them a target sort of CPA, we don't care about that. We're just going to do whatever we want to do. And
that goes into a much deeper thing, at least in my mind, which is the category of people that literally do not understand what they're working with every single day. And like media buyers, and I'm hoping I'm not alone in this. I'm assuming I'm not, but everyone knows like one media buyer that like you tell them a niche and they immediately know, like, I want to buy on these keywords. This is the mental thing. Like the good ones like can go through that really quick. The other media buyers might look at it as like, maybe I'm not good at Google ads, but I'm good at like social. Like I'm good at Facebook. I'm not good at this. But I don't know many that actually go far enough to actually look into like what the consumers are using when they see your ad, your site, and go through your stuff. Like, for example, the amount of people that don't understand that when they click an ad on Facebook, they are not going to their browser is insane. I don't know. I'm assuming you knew that. Most people I talk to do. But like, if you're on Facebook and you click on an ad and you go to the ad, swipe up or whatever your device is to look at your running apps and notice you're not in Chrome, you're in Facebook. And then you wonder how they have all this data and attribution.
So Facebook have Facebook and Facebook Shop. And obviously Facebook shop is they're selling the product, they're taking the money, and then you get the money from them. And, again, most of my clients, they want to be in control of the money. They don't want Facebook to have the money that you spend on the ads and the money that you collect from clients when they buy products, right? Because again, if the clients end up having a bad experience, then they'll refund the money like that, right? And you're stuck on the hook for like a return that probably you could appeal and not have to pay for. So, so for me, it's always a difficult one to try and get your head around, and that comes back to, yes, Facebook's kind of first and sole priorities to their shareholders, not so much consumers. Yeah, not so much, right? So for me, again, I think it is a bit of a challenge. But that whole thing with the 10 Qs, if you are looking at anything, again, anyone that kind of goes look at their prospectus, see what it says about them, see who their competitors are. Like, there's so much information in these documents, like, is rich in data to say, well, this is what we're spending on. Again, like, if you look at, I think the most recent thing with Facebook is they're basically saying by 2026, so in other words, next year, all of the ads can be basically generated completely by AI.
Yep.
So you're thinking, well, if I'm a creative agency, should I be like looking to pivot a bit here or do something different?
So here's the fun part. If you haven't yet, you need to now, or you're not going to have much longer. And I say that as someone who has run multiple SEO agencies, multiple digital marketing agencies, and knows a lot of people running, well, that until recently ran very good ones, but a lot of them now are having extreme issues with that. And the funny part is that AI does not understand sales psychology. It does not understand the aspect of, it can assume and do certain things to work off of like pain points, like appeal to the emotional, like it can do that. But it's not going to properly be able to leverage the right stuff without the data. And I'm not saying the model can't. I'm saying that the vast majority of people won't know how to get the data to pass it in the right way to make it do what they want. And that assumes Facebook will let you even do it in the first place. Yeah. That's the problem. But like, yeah, I know a lot of people right now that client-wise, they're way down in terms of like all their normal stuff. All their normal clients are just replacing them. And my first thought was, if they can replace you that easily, dude, like, you didn't really have much of a service
you were
anyway.
Not adding value. Yeah.
But now that I can actually see what I'm able to do for people with AI in a single, that is the most irrelevant comment I can probably make about it nowadays. Because there are jobs that I guarantee you I can talk to people right now and they'll be like, there's absolutely no way that an AI or an LLM could do this as good as someone with 20 years of experience. And I thought the exact same thing until I actually tested it. And as soon as I got a lot of the data in and I started actually training it in certain ways, yeah, no. I've had some people literally talking to that AI for the past month and still don't know it's me or not me. Yeah. They have no idea. But yeah, so there's a lot coming down the pipe. The number one thing is that if you are doing something based on just calculations and no like mental, right? Like just calculations, like this is not profitable by X%, so scale this down by X%. Then if you're the same person that worries that Google ad JavaScript rule sets would have replaced your agency, then you definitely should be worried right now. But if you're also the kind that's like, well, our stuff was a lot better and we didn't need to worry about it because we made these custom and it works for our use case and all that, and that's amazing. But they have a lot more data than you do.
Yeah,
and that stuff will be.
I'm not saying I don't want to use the AI that Facebook has. I don't want to use the AI that Google has, because as you say, they have access to way more data about the user journey than I will ever have. I have the point that they saw and clicked on an ad, right, as their sort of entry point. And some people go, well, like the keywords that they searched was not really relevant. It's like, but what the 10 searches that they made before they made that one that they saw your ad on, right? That's the ones that ultimately have added a lot of value in terms of them knowing what it's done. I mean, in some industries, pay-per-call works incredibly well because of the nature of the type of thing that it is. So like, again, if you're doing pest control, if you've got a lounge that's completely full of termites, you're not going to go, you know what, I'm going to get 6 or 7 people around to give me a quote. You're like, how soon can you get here? Like, I'm literally, my floorboards are being eaten away. I need somebody to come right now. And you don't really care how much it's going to cost because you need this problem eradicated damn quick.
So Do you want to know what one of my secrets was for pay-per-call for finding really good advertisers? Is all I did is I went into Google, I typed in what they do, like plumbing, Maryland, whatever, and then I look for 24/7. If they have 24/7, that means they have at least an answering service on the 24/7 number. And that means they'll buy calls because emergencies have such an upcharge that they'll be fine with it. And if they're actually doing emergencies with an upcharge, they also won't mind that I cost more than other people because these are people that will actually take action. They will do it now, even if it's 3 a.m. or whatever.
But I mean, things like appliance repair. I mean, most companies that provide appliance repair services, they have like a 60, 80, $100 call out charge. So regardless of whether they fix your appliance or not, you're going to pay 60.
It's the attempt,
right? So in some respects, like when people say, oh, I'm not really sure people want to buy a lead for, $25, $30, $45 or whatever, it's like, but they're making $60 on that lead immediately. So they're already in profit before they've even kind of sent it out to somebody to go around and see them, right? So,
but here's the thing, that's also, at least in my view, it's the right way to think about it, but it's the wrong framework. So like when you have these guys and you're saying, okay, this lead is $45 and it'll make 60, for example. So when you have those, obviously we're talking averages. They're not going to see that as averages though. They're just going to see this lead I just paid 45 for. This guy just told me to go F myself. So I just paid 45 for someone to go tell me to F myself. So like they don't really care about that, but what they do care about, and this is at least as far as I've seen with my guys, is I correlate my ad spend, let's call it time frame, like the 1-day click and all that kind of stuff that you do. I correlate my ad spend to how important it is to make the phone call to call someone that needs to get this fixed. So for example, if you are living at home with your significant other, you don't have kids, you don't have anyone else, and like something random that you use once a week dies, you're not going to be like, we need to call someone to fix this absolutely right now. So those might be like, oh, well, we're going to go to the store this weekend. Maybe we'll take a look. So I'll do a 7-day on that because that's research mode versus purchase mode, right? And I only make money when they're in purchase mode. Yeah. So I'll run that kind of stuff and I'll use that to find out, engage. But like, think about the stuff where like you don't have a day, let alone an hour. Oh, it's storming outside right now and there's water literally falling into my basement right now and it's about to hit all my stuff and destroy a whole, like that. You don't have an hour to make a phone call. You have 5 minutes to find whoever will pick up the phone and then 20 minutes to freak out while they drive over. But that,
and most of the time,
what are the
those people have had like 50 calls before you. So they typically will charge a premium for providing that sort of service. And they, as you say, people don't really care and worry about wow, that was really expensive after the event. For now, let's just get the basement not drowning in water that all of our furniture is going to go out the front door, right? So
it's and that's the thing, is it goes back to the segmentation. Everyone knows their job. Everyone doesn't really know other people's jobs or what they do or how they do it or whatever it is. It's the same thing with that HVAC example. So when we bought this house, right? When we moved in, we had a problem with the plumbing. It wasn't horrible, but it was like, we should get this fixed. And if we don't soon, it's going to become horrible. So we should probably get it fixed. And we called a couple guys, got quotes, then it broke. And it broke on Saturday night. So you already know, no matter what, I'm out 200 just if someone picks up the phone and says yes. We called 3 companies. 2 of them didn't call us back.
Whatever.
It's 3 years later and they still haven't called us back.
Wow.
Do you have any idea how much money I spent with the one that did pick up, and not only picked up, and it was an answering service, by the way. It wasn't even their staff. They're like, oh, sorry, yeah, I'm just an answering service. I'm like, listen, I don't care if you can get a hold of them. They're like, oh, I can definitely get a hold of them. Let me call them right now. And literally got them, an hour later, showed up. Do you know how much money I've spent with them in the past 3 years? Enough that it probably paid for the next 500 calls from just the same person.
Yeah.
But people don't think about long-term value anymore because everything's only what hits the account today. It only works today. I don't believe it till I see it today. And that's great until you figure out that every single person does that for external vendors and never does it when they are the external vendor. It's everything they do to everyone while also simultaneously not wanting it to be done to them. So once you figure out that that's what most of these people are buying under, you understand why they're buying. I just want to make money. I'm going to complain if it doesn't make enough. And yes, I don't care if the guy doesn't buy, I'm going to complain. It has nothing to do with averages. It's, you told me this guy was interested and he's not. They don't know marketing.
Yeah.
So you need to explain to them how to understand certain things about that, or you just need to get someone else that does.
Yeah.
It's one of the two. But let's call it the journey through that will easily, in my mind, be the best depictor of when you want to use your data sampling. So if it's someone like that, basement waterproofing, plumbing, like, oh shit, everything's completely screwed, like that kind of stuff, that is a 1-day click. Beyond 1 day, either your house is something I don't want to go to, or you've already found someone.
Yeah.
So like, it's one of those two. But
And
then if
the thing
it's
is,
something
in
else
some
where it's
parts
like,
of the country, there's a huge amount of demand, so therefore there's a huge amount of supply. Whereas other parts of the country, it's like 3 houses and then nobody's there within 50 miles of their houses. And if a call comes in to go out to one of them, they're going to go, nah, let's not bother, right? So again, and I think when you look at it, people go, I'm running this campaign, I'm running nationwide. It's like, why? Why on earth are you running a campaign nationwide, all genders, all ages?
do you want to know why? I can tell you why. Because I just found out last week, because I finally got someone to tell me why they actually thought that that was the best way from scratch with no pixel or lookalike to start a campaign.
Yeah.
And literally, it's because they're being taught this way. As I found out, this is what actually the gurus are now teaching. Don't even worry about it, bro. You can just literally start the campaign, and as long as the Facebook pixel will optimize, you don't need to do anything. No segmentation, no bucketing, no restrictions, no state lists, no bidding. Like, don't even worry about it. Just literally let Facebook do its thing. And I went, congrats. When you lose your job for spending all of your fucking company's money and you literally make no conversions because you trusted the system, can I hire you and teach you the right way? Because you're a great person, but you are listening to the wrong people. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure there are cases where that does apply, like branding or like really big, very like monstrous thing that applies to the majority of people, like weight loss. I'm sure that would work if you had in all 50 states and everything. But like, other than that, like there's no reason when you only have locations on the East Coast to do it, unless like, for example, you're Buc-ee's. And I don't know if you've seen the memes about that or not, but Buc-ee's is like the biggest gas station you will ever want to go to. They have like the food, they're huge, they're like a Walmart.
Yeah.
But they intentionally buy billboards nowhere close to their locations. And they literally have the billboards where you're like rolling down on the highway and you're like, oh, an ad for pants. Oh, an ad for shoes. And the next one's like, Buc-ee's has great lunch. And you're like, oh, great, I'm hungry. And it goes only 1,400 miles ahead on the right. And you're like, damn. And you're going to see 9 more before you get there.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is, for them, in their extremely small use case, with their extremely specific way of doing it in their extremely niche market, that would work.
Yeah.
But outside of that, if you're going after intent, it's not the same. Or you're going to spend a lot of money to figure it out.
Because that was always the thing, maybe when you go to Vegas, if ever you end up in a cab on the strip, you go from one set of traffic lights, you go up to the next one, it stops, and it keeps you there for 5 minutes, right?
Yep.
And then you go to the next traffic lights and it stops and it keeps you there for 5 minutes. So it takes forever to get down the strip, no matter what time of day or night it is, right? And the reason for that is because all the billboards that are on the side of the road, they want as many people to see them as possible and have enough time to get out their phone, take down the number, scan the QR code, whatever it might be. They want to be able to kind of basically do the selling at that particular point in time. And I'm pretty sure that the companies have paid the transportation kind of highways to basically say, make sure that these traffic lights do not go quickly.
Oh,
traffic through.
Oh, that's the default in Vegas, just in general. Like because you're standing on the corner and you're like, look at all the lights everywhere. Like just the fact that you're stuck there, you're like, do I really want to cross or should I go in for a beer? Like
it's a bit like the smoking, right? Technically it's banned smoke in the casinos, but they're not going to want people to go outside the front of the casino and stand there having a cigarette while they do it, or vaping.
Oh yeah, no, they complain when you do, which is the best part.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
so basically whatever the fine is, I'm pretty sure the casinos go, we'll pay it, whatever the fine is, we'll pay it. They're just just contemptuous with their kind of attitude on it.
Oh yeah, no, it's top line. It's all about top line, right? Like I don't care if I'm losing money on certain keywords, as long as I can prove that having those keywords at a loss is making me more on something else, then I really don't care. As long as I know that. But
I mean, most people don't work on the
far.
basis when I've worked for big brands in the past where they spend a lot of money, we would have a situation where they did really well on SEO, and because of that entitled us to basically go deeper into profitability on keywords that we had to be ranked number 1 for. So it didn't matter how much money we lost on those terms, because we knew overall, blended out, it would blend out overall that we would pick up enough to cover that deficit. And we were prepared to go deeper into the pockets than all of the competitors were. And as a result of that, they just couldn't compete because of that fact that we had a kind of a good understanding as to what value the head terms brought to us. We knew exactly what it was worth, which is difficult for an affiliate. It's very difficult for you as
yes.
right. And again, I've always said, like, tell me how many brands will go, affiliates can't bid on these brand terms. And I'm like, why are they doing that? Because to me, I would much rather have me as the brand, one of my affiliates bidding on my brand. So I've got a chance to basically hoover everything up, have me and 7 of my competitors bidding on my brand. Because that was a fight that Google used to get involved in. They used to go, well,
Yes.
we're just not going to allow you to bid on like brands that are not yours. And now they're like, you know what, just knock yourself out. If you want to do it, carry on. We'll just take money from all of you, because it didn't matter. They don't care. They don't care who converts them, because they get money.
Do you know why they stopped looking at that? At least my theory as to why they stopped looking at that is they were not able to draw the line between UGC reviews about trademark terms and the actual trademark term company. Yeah. So like if you're like Lending Tree is a trademark, I'm sure. But then also at the same time, if let's say you rank in Google, not ads, but you rank in Google for like Lending Tree reviews or something like that, that's one thing. But to bid on that is a whole other thing. And that's where I think the disconnect is for a lot of people, is they don't understand that is a different thing. But also there's still a lot of people that literally think that Google ads don't impact SEO and vice versa, like in general. And okay. Yeah, but like that's how I started SEO every time.
That's probably 3 episodes of the podcast just on that one topic, right? To kind of like unpack that. Because again, so many people go, well, I'm not going to bid on my brand because I rank number 1 organically. It's like, you know what?
Yeah, no problem. I will.
The number 1 organic result now with like the AI overviews and everything else, it's like sliding further and further down the page, right? To the point where,
oh yeah,
like it's almost on page 2. So
there's only one thing more funny than that with the restrictions on trademark terms. And by the way, I'm talking about the people that do like the BS ones, because there are some legitimate trademark enforcement and all that kind of stuff. And I do want to make that clear. But there are also a lot of people that they say that they don't allow trademark bidding because they think trademark bidding is an industry term. And then you find out they actually don't have a trademark at all. And then I'm sitting here going, so only the people that get penalized are the ones working with you? Because you can't penalize anyone that doesn't work with you because you don't own a trademark, you can't enforce it. But at the same time, I have to sign an agreement to promote you where I agree not to do it. So literally the only people that are hurting you are the ones that you can't stop. Like, that's dumb. Like, wouldn't you want me to help you fight that? Which we can, but like, you need to let me do it. And I thought it was like 1, 2, like I thought it was like a couple advertisers or like something random or whatever it was. Nope. It was like 15, 20%.
Yeah. I mean,
insane.
That like if I had a particular term and I wanted to try and cut out competition, I had a letterhead with like a legal letterhead, and I used to send a letter say you're bidding on my trademark and you need to stop. I had no trademark. I mean, but you know, I think if you're enough of a chancer, I mean, a friend of mine always said, VIP is a state of mind. If you walk up into the kind of VIP area, he's going to call you out on it. I mean, it's kind of like, this is only for VIPs. It's like, I am a VIP. Show me evidence of that. It's like, what? I mean, that's ridiculous. So for me, it's like that whole thing. I mean, probably 50% of all the people I would send a letter to would actually comply and stop bidding on it, right? And probably 1 or 2 would write back and go fuck yourself. And 2 would probably just ignore it. So again, if you had 7 or 8 competitors, you would have half of them would disappear at that point. I mean, again, it's difficult.
Oh yeah,
it's different now because, again, like if you look in the auctions, if you work on the basis that in most cases you set a CPA, target ROAS, target CPA, whatever it might be, and ultimately Google are in control of where the floor sits. I've always maintained if you have a brand, again, like. I know, Rob, you normally do this. If you watch anything, just watch this one thing. So this is that moment. So if you are a brand and you're bidding on your brand term, do not, on Google, do not run target ROAS, target CPA. Use manual CPC and set a bid significantly below what the current CPC you're paying is. Because absolutely, if somebody types in your brand, they are looking for you. They're not looking for anyone else. They're looking for you. They may have never heard of you before, but they are looking for you because they may have seen you over on Facebook. They're going to come over. They're going to look for you by typing in your brand name. So don't bid $12 a click because the traffic might only cost 40 cents a click. If you look at impression share and top impression share and impression share top, right? That will show you how many of the impressions that were available to bid on you were in the auctions for. And even if you look at it, manual CPC, I've got bids where they're 20, 30 cents, and we still have 80, 90% impression share volume, which means we're getting probably as much as we could. Maybe we might get to 92% if we went target CPA and bid $14 a click. But why would I want to do that? Because it just doesn't work out cost effective to do it that way, right?
And also it protects you. The manual CPC protects you.
And Google have no incentive to set that floor anywhere near where the floor should be in an auction. I mean, it should be whatever people are prepared to pay, that's what they charge. But no, they set a floor that's significantly above that. And then they go even higher. I mean, people go, I've got one keyword, it cost me $110 a click. It's like, well, then you're foolish for kind of allowing them to control everything about that particular auction taking place.
Yeah, there's so much behind it, and so many so for example, taking the manual CPC stuff you just talked about, the point that I hear from that, and the point that I want people to understand is that not only will that help you save money, but it does more than just do that on the bids. It's also going to protect you against other people bidding and running your rates up when they shouldn't. So you won't have the aspect nearly as much where someone can go and cap you out or whatever it's going to be on your own stuff, and then all of a sudden bid nothing and then just do what they want to do. It really depends on how you run it, but that is the easiest layup to protecting your brand that you could have probably put into 2 sentences.
But it also,
and still people are going to sleep on it.
I've got some clients that have fairly small budgets, and if they're spending like 40, 50% of their budget on a brand campaign, like I can take that down to like 10% of it, which means that they've then got another chunk of money to go and be more prevalent and in auctions that they historically would not have been able to afford to be in. Or they can go higher on the ones where it is a generic term, but it's a term that is popular and successful. They get some success with it, but their impression share is quite low and they're not in the auctions because they haven't got enough budget to be able to be there more frequently. So it's like, it's just, again, just trying to understand a little bit about it. And that's usually when I say to people, look, I will put more money on the table than I will ever take off it. Those are usually the really quick wins. You can walk in the door before you've taken your jacket off. You can usually find savings in that kind of area. And that's usually the kind of first thing that I do. I go, let's do that. Let's do this. And people go, oh no, that's working. That's our brand campaign. We can't touch that. I'm like, well, just watch how good it is, but watch how much cheaper it is as a result. And I'm sure at some point in time, I hope nobody from Google ever sees this video, but I'm pretty sure at some point in time, they're going to do away with manual CPC altogether. They'll take the option off the table. So it'll be like, you can't do that anymore. In the same way that we used to make a ton of money as an affiliate bidding on misspellings of brand variations. And now they just bundle it all into one. So if you misspell a brand term, you might think if somebody's typed in Nissan car insurance, there are hundreds of ways that people can spell Nissan and insurance, and probably even car wrong. They could put 2 R's, put no spaces, all that sort of stuff. And we found all of them. And they were, instead of it being $5 a click, it would be like 10 cents a click. And we found tons of them. And we made a ton of money as affiliates doing that, right? And, and they took that opportunity away because they realized that people were coining it, right, at their expense, because they were only making 10 cents a click and we were making all the money. They just kind of reset the table and made sure that it balanced out in their favor. Away with this and saying, well, this is going to be beneficial to advertisers, and here's a statistic to say 12% of the people that kind of did that got an 8% uplift. It's like,
yeah, they love to use generalizations, and that means anyone. Like they just love to be, oh, there's a lift in XYZ. It's like, you know what? How about this? Give me the minimum and the maximum, and then let's discuss. I don't want to know your average. Give me the minimum and the maximum, because I know how averages work. And I also know how averages work in sales. And I also know how you probably came up with that average. So if you can just give me three stats: minimum, max, and then the average. If you give me those three and the average is not in the middle, you know why they never gave you those three stats. Yeah. And that's literally what it is almost every time. There's plenty of people that'll say, oh, our average is 4%. And I'm like, great, what's the range? And they're like, oh, like 3 to like 40. And I'm like, and your average is 4? What did you get, 1 conversion over 10? Like, what the heck are we talking about?
Yeah.
But that's what gives you your quality indicator.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing. Yeah. Like if you look at it, I always say, let's take the outliers out of the way, right? The ones that were super expensive, the ones that were super cheap, right? Let's move them off the table. Let's look at the bit in the middle, and let's look at that data. That's the data that will ultimately tell you what sort of chance you've got of winning the auctions that you happen to be in, right? And again, it's one of the reasons why, again, like typically with Facebook ads, even though they say just bid broad, like bid on everyone, it's like I will still, to my dying day, I will still always want to put in a floor in terms of age, because quite often I don't want an 18-year-old to see an ad for something about buying or whatever it is, because most 18-year-olds are not in a position to be and whatever else. They are just not at that point. So why would I want them to see an ad? Because if you kind of like leave it up to Facebook,
I just don't want audience. I don't want them to see it for legal reasons, let alone that.
Yeah.
Like that's the other thing. Good.
So Rob, this has been a good episode. I'm glad that we got the chance to catch up again. I know that obviously we're at the end of the month now. So your probably next step is going to be heading off to New York for Affiliate Summit. I really wish I liked New York more. People always say, what do you like most about New York? I'm like, the taxi going back to the airport to leave.
Don't we all, Jim? Don't we all? Yeah, no, I'm there for business, then I leave.
Yeah.
That's how all of my ASE trips are. It's like, oh, you're going up for business? I go up there to see friends that I happen to do business with and maybe meet a couple others, but it could be in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky. It doesn't matter. I'm there for the people.
Yeah. I mean, I remember walking around the Javits Center in like snowed, and there was about 1.5 feet of snow outside. Then it stopped snowing and it started raining, so there was just slush everywhere. And there was
that the bus?
Yeah, there was
the bus thing. Yeah, I was there.
There was a line for taxis that was just crazy. I've never seen anything like it in my life. So I'm standing there freezing my balls off, going, God, what am I doing here? I hate this place.
Dude.
But you know,
it's the I think I remember that because I think it was at Javits. I want to say it was AdTech.
And the last
yeah, that's what it was. And I remember because we went to the taxis and we were like, oh, how much is it? And someone was like, oh, Manhattan, that's like $58. And I was like, okay. So then we went back to the bus, and the bus ended up not being able to continue driving because the wind came through the building so hard that it was blowing enough that we actually had to park the bus. So we parked the bus, and then all of a sudden we're like, so what, we just walk back now? Like, what are we doing right now? And we ended up like getting dinner, talking with a couple other affiliates, whatever, found a great Italian spot, but like didn't have that on my bingo card. Didn't think that was going to be something we were going to have to deal with. But
yeah, because I think most people sent their booths to New York, and the storage place that they put the booths in was underwater, right? So it was like literally 10 foot tall in water. And so most people that like had insurance for their booth just canceled going. They had the option to cancel. So very, very few exhibitors exhibited. And a show like AdTech, they used to obviously
that's what it is,
sell the booths for the next year at that year's show. And because that year's show, hardly anyone was there. Very few people rebooked for the following year. And the show just withered and died. I mean, it's just like, which is a shame. I mean, I used to like,
I like that text,
but it didn't keep up with the times. It didn't evolve. They had some unfortunate circumstances, and they were just not able to recover because of it. So,
yep, which sadly has happened way too much.
Absolutely. But yeah, I wish
we'll see.
I wish you all the best. And for those of you that are watching, I'm going to put this up on.
Don't forget to subscribe. See it? It's in the bottom right there, that little sentence. Don't forget, please. Otherwise, the next podcast will be me just saying, don't forget to subscribe over and over for an hour straight.